A global trade war is brewing. The world's two largest economies, the United States and China, are at the epicenter of the conflict. But other trading partners have been pulled into the fray. The Trump administration has set tariffs on steel and aluminum imports and investment restrictions on both allies and rivals, and they've begun to retaliate.
Leaders from the EU, Mexico,
Canada has already said we are going to match dollar for dollar.
These tariffs are an affront to the long-standing security partnership between Canada and the United States.
Japan and the European Union have signed a trade deal.
Escalating tensions between the United States and Turkey.
The more we act illegitimately, we begin to lose allies.
This tariff tit-for-tat may escalate into a full-scale trade war, one like we've never seen before. In 1930, the United States raised tariffs on imported goods from Europe. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act was an effort to protect U.S. workers as we headed into the Great Depression, but the move backfired. Europe imposed retaliatory tariffs, which raised the price of goods in the United States. It accelerated job losses. The global depression worsened. But today's global economy is much more integrated and more complex. Even a bilateral trade spat can have cascading effects, both at home and abroad. China and the U.S., for example, traded $636 billion worth of goods in 2017 alone. That trade supports over 2.5 million jobs in the United States. We rely more on multi-country supply chains for manufactured goods. For example, an iPhone is designed in California and assembled in China. It uses parts from Korea, Japan, and other countries around the world. So any action the U.S. takes could affect American and Chinese companies and workers, as well as supplier countries from around the world. The U.S.-China trade relationship stretches beyond goods and services into investments. Cumulatively, China has invested over $140 billion in the United States, and the U.S. has invested over $256 billion in China. China also owns the most U.S. debt. That allows the U.S. to continue to spend. Enforcement tools have also evolved. Since 1995, the World Trade Organization has had significant dispute settlement responsibilities. Countries can impose restrictions if they believe goods will harm national security. They can also place duties on imports that are subsidized or sold below what it costs to make them. Because of how integrated the global economy is, a trade war today may evolve into a full-scale economic conflict. It might involve sanctions, investment restrictions, limits on immigration, and foreign investment curbs. Supply chains and direct investment might shift to other nations. These actions could also lead countries to form competing blocks of trade alliances. Bilateral relationships between countries will erode. Or worse, the conflict may lead to traditional military actions. Overall, a trade war will look complex and will involve multiple fronts. At the end of the day, no one really wins a trade war. To ease growing tensions, we must consider serious discussions and understand each other's objectives if we want to prevent a full-scale economic conflict.